I am here with Annie Markowitz, who is Director of Global Digital Strategy at GE. Thank you, Annie.
Thanks for having me.
So Andy, why did you decide to come to the IAB event here in California this year?
Basically, when Randall Rothenberg asks, you do. So that's reason number one. But the IAB events typically attract the brightest and smartest people in the business, and when you want to come and talk business, this is definitely the place to be.
A lot of the discussions we're having here is about changing the ecosystem, the future of the marketplace, how we can change and affect change. So how does your group inside of GE plan to help or change or affect the ecosystem in 2010?
The nice thing about the role at GE is that there is existing demand within the company to talk digital and to learn more about what you can do from a technology standpoint. And so our group ultimately will be charged and tasked with kind of elevating best practices and standards within the company, and I think we'll have the opportunity to kind of show people how you use technology to create better relevancy, both from a consumer standpoint and from a business-to-business standpoint.
Last night, Dave Moore made a statement about as advertisers, and I'm a network, but as advertisers or people who put out advertising, we should be a little bit more aggressive and not be afraid to be aggressive with the ads that we create, get more in people's faces. How do you feel about that as a general position?
Well, so you're talking about the intrusive nature of advertising. You know, my take on it is that it's absolutely okay to explore new ways of doing things. I think that tolerance for new formats and the opportunity to be creative in different ways, I think is definitely an open book. I don't think it is an all or nothing type of thing. So in other words, I think that there's an opportunity to use creative, but I think there's also the opportunity to create better contextual relevancy. So I don't think it's an incumbent thing just upon the creative to create better intrusiveness. I think it's about delivering the right message to the right person at the right time. So it's a combination of a number of different things. But I think being aggressive is absolutely important because we still need to prove this stuff out on a number of different levels.
Right, so as an advertiser working for a major brand, I'm sure you're getting pitched and called all the time by different people who are offering you the solution that's going to make your results better or make your life easier. We had a discussion earlier about what you would like in return from some of the people who are trying to earn your business. And tell me a little bit about that, what were you saying?
Sure. Well, I mean, first off, I'll start by saying what is, I think, fairly obvious and probably repeated a lot, is that there's a fair amount of duplication in the services that are provided across a lot of the technologies and networks and whatnot that are out there. And so I think it's hard for marketers to really differentiate because everyone's got a logo slide, everyone's got a very kind of similar pitch in terms of the vernacular that they use, so there are certain things there that are kind of hard to differentiate. But what I'd like to see, though, obviously, I think you can say in a couple of different ways. One is better idea generation, right? So come in ready to kind of lay out an idea of what we can do with one of our businesses right away. I think if the more relevant you can make it, the better off it is. The second thing now is in my former life, I was more on the B2C side of things. Now I would consider what we're doing kind of more end-to-end, right? So there's a lot of B2B, there's a lot of B2C, there's a lot of channel pieces in there. So I'd like to see some better case studies and some better examples and thought behind the B2B side of it and the channel piece of it versus just the B2C side.
You shifted from being very B2C focused and now you move over to B2B, and we've actually noticed in the conference that people aren't talking about B2B enough. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think the opportunity kind of exists from a business development standpoint to crack the biggest nut. And so people probably look at the biggest nut as B2C, right? How can I do mass marketing? And I think it's actually a fairly big trap, right? Because the promise of the internet and technology is to create better relevancy on different kind of micro scales or niche scales. And so I think there's some major opportunity there, and you don't see a lot of people addressing the B2B side of things. You see people just talking about B2C, be more mass, crack a bigger nut. But when you're talking about B2C, you are talking about mass marketing, and we all know that there's a lot of proof that needs to be created over time. On the B2B side, I think there's an opportunity to work with different models and really kind of prove things out in a more very kind of specific way at the bottom of the funnel. When you're talking about CPG and you're talking about other types of marketers, the top of the funnel is a little bit harder to prove out right now in terms of what its direct relevance is to your ROI. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here from a B2B perspective. For me to work within those models is really challenging and engaging and really kind of invigorating. I would really like to see the people that are here, the technology companies, the publishers come to us with better solutions from a B2B perspective.
Historically, when a B2B buyer is going out and purchasing media, they generally do a lot of site selection and they stick to the sites that might be in the category. But nowadays there's been a lot of the new activity around data and audience extension, because we could say, well, this person looks like this person. So, and they might have some of the similar mindsets or traits, and because of that, they may not appear on the site that we're looking for, but they may be going beyond that. So we find them a different place. Do you believe in that in theory, that that's something you're going to be doing in the future?
It's a great question. GE has a variety of different businesses, diverse businesses, some with very small kind of target buyers and some with very large target buyers. I think data will become increasingly more relevant and more a bigger piece of the puzzle. And not just from an audience selection standpoint, but from the ability to kind of mine that data and understand the audience a little bit better and take that data and move it further upstream in the planning process. So it's not just about the site selection, but it's about audience development and about insight development, and I think the data has a lot of opportunity in that regard. I think clearly though, from a site selection and media planning standpoint, you really do want to be using data to really be very targeted and very selective in terms of who you talk to, because again, based on GE's businesses only, the audiences can vary from a very large audience to a very small audience.
Great. Okay, well listen, thanks very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
We'll talk again soon.
All right, great. Okay.